Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, an update from the Dean of the College of Agriculture at Kansas State University, Dr. Ernie Minton, as they received some funding from the state to put that together with the funding that they've been out raising and how you can participate as well. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Grain Sorghum, and the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, and market information from Pinion.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agricultural news, Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack this week announced funding for agriculture producers and forest landowners to participate in some voluntary conservation programs and adopt some climate-smart practices. The Inflation Reduction Act provided an additional $19.5 billion over 5 years for climate-smart ag through several NRCS programs. The Natural Resource Conservation Service is making available $850 million in fiscal year 23 for the oversubscribed conservation programs. That is the Environmental Quality Incentives Program, Conservation Stewardship Program, Ag Conservation Easement Program, and the Regional Conservation Partnership Program. Secretary Vilsack said, "We know that agriculture plays a critical role in the nation's effort to address climate change, and the Inflation Reduction Act funding includes additional $8.45 billion for EQIP, $4.95 billion for RCPP, $3.25 billion for CSP, $1.4 billion for ASEP. The increased funding levels begin in fiscal year 2023 and rapidly build over the next 4 years. The investments are estimated to help thousands of farmers and ranchers apply for conservation on millions of acres of land." American ag sector posted its best export year ever in 2022. USDA says international sales of American farm and food products reached $196 billion. As final trade data from the U.S. Commerce Department showed U.S. ag exports increased 11% to $19.5 billion from the previous record that was set just in 2021. Now, the value of sales increased in all of America's top 10 ag export markets. Those are China, Mexico, Canada, Japan, the European Union, South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines, along with Colombia and Vietnam. Sales in 7 of those 10 countries set a new record. The top U.S. commodity exports in 2022: soybeans, corn, beef, dairy, cotton, and tree nuts. International sales of many products like soybeans, cotton, dairy, beef, ethanol, poultry, soy meal, distilled spirits, and distillers' grains all reached record value. Overall, 30 markets, U.S. exports exceeded $1 billion in 2022, up from 27 in 2021. And while American families are dealing with record high grocery prices, farm families can expect to see a drop in income in 2023. That, according to American Farm Bureau economists, as they analyze the farm income forecast in the latest Market Intel report, noting that income will fall 16% this year, while costs will rise over 4%. They say the farm income forecast is a stark reminder that American farmers and ranchers are not reaping the benefits from higher grocery store prices. Words from Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall. He said, "While some commodity prices are rising, farmers are being hit by circumstances beyond their control, which is why a farm bill is so important and must get passed this year." Adding to the challenges, rising interest rates, farm sector debt that will increase by $31.9 billion to a record $535 billion. Now, these farm programs enable farmers to manage the risk of weather and the challenges to continue feeding America's families, Duvall said. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
Well, joining us now is Dr. Ernie Minton, who is the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Kansas State University. Dean, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely happy to be here. Always good to be with you.
Just a few months ago, we had a conversation talking about some of the fundraising. Almost, it's there. You blew that one out of the water, but also with some of those funds, have been able to match to get more funds moving forward from the state of Kansas.
That's correct. And so just to refresh the listeners, we were awarded right after the session closed last year, $25 million outright without a match. And then we had an opportunity to acquire another $25 million from the state of Kansas through the Department of Commerce with a 3-to-1 challenge. That is, we had to raise $3 for every dollar more that we applied for, up to a maximum of $25 million. And of course, what that means, obviously, to get the maximum, we had to raise $75 million, with the huge challenge being that needed to be done in a 5-month period of time. And of course, that sounded like an impossible task, but lo and behold, by December 7th last year, we had raised $75 million and then some. So we submitted our application to Department of Commerce and expected to hear, relatively soon, but for a number of reasons, and I'm not sure I know all of them, that decision was delayed. And so the good news is, just this past week, President Rich Linton got a note that, sure enough, K-State had been awarded that second $25 million. And so this was really good news, and we wanted to make sure that we got that out to our stakeholders, your listeners, et cetera.
Right. So, and with that, boy, that's an extra boost that can continue to move forward. And there's going to be a lot of exciting things going on. And I think many folks are pleased that while we know there are many needs throughout the K-State, not only the main campus in Manhattan, throughout other places, but I think a lot of stakeholders are pleased that seemingly the first place to start this time around is within the College of Agriculture.
Absolutely. And you'll know well, and your listeners will know well, we've got just a long, backlog of things that need to be done. And the total price tag is staggering. And so we won't go there today, but we have to start somewhere. And this is a great start. So in total, we raised over $75 million, but if we start there, add the 25 and 25 to that total, that's 125. And so one of the things we want to make clear is we've got more fundraising to do, but we can do that. And I won't say at a leisurely pace, but at least there isn't a looming deadline out there ahead of us. And so we're already beginning to work with the K-State Foundation to really work through other stakeholders, which likely will have an interest in the projects that we submitted in that challenge grant. Just as an example, in the one of the new buildings that's going to replace Schellenberger Hall and Feed Technology Hall, we'll move our Department of Grain Sciences and Industry over to that, put them alongside our food scientists and animal scientists. But there's just a number of milling companies, baking companies, equipment companies, extrusion companies, et cetera, that benefit from the research, but also the students that we provide out of those programs. And as you approach companies for bricks and mortar projects, these things need to go through their boards and they have to go through a more extended approval process. And we just did not have time to get that done last year when we had that December 7th deadline. So we're gonna work through that and all the related industries, not just for that one, but for the agronomy project, for the livestock performance arena, et cetera, to really acquire the additional funds we're going to need to finish out those projects correctly.
Okay. We're talking with Dr. Ernie Minton, the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Kansas State University. Going to take a quick break, and we'll continue in just a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Our guest is Dr. Ernie Minton, who is the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Kansas State University. Dr. Minton, as we kind of wrap this thing up, I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about what such a great friend to so many Kansans, and of course, Kansas State University in the world of agriculture. Jack Vanier passed away, and a true legacy.
Oh, absolutely. It's just hard to really overstate how impactful he has been for K-State, but also, as you mentioned, agriculture in the state of Kansas. Just a phenomenal supporter, very humble person, always noted for integrity, honesty, those kinds of core values that really are so very important. But yes, he's been a tremendous friend to agriculture and Kansas State University, and his legacy is going to continue, really forever as an impact on what we do here and ag in the state. So, this part of life is part of it, but it's never the right day for that kind of thing,
Right.
obviously.
Right. Well, I just want to give you the opportunity and thank you for just the relationship and the Vanier family for all of us. So, well, Dr. Minton, as we wrap this up again, some great news, things moving forward at the College of Agriculture and at Kansas State University. But maybe there are folks that you haven't discovered yet that maybe are doing some planning or say, hey, okay, they've got this far. Maybe now I want to contribute, or our family wants to contribute to moving forward with these situations, these things going on at K-State. How can folks do that?
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's a really straightforward process. Our lead ag development officer is Carrie Weefald, but anyone who's in the position that you just mentioned, who has an interest and wants to be part of this effort, can contact Carrie through me or directly through the K-State Foundation, and we'll absolutely be able to engage with them.
Well, Dr. Minton, as always, keep up the great work. We're just so excited that things are moving forward as you and the team look to reinvent and make this the new version of what Land-Grant University should be. So we look forward to continuing this conversation as the process moves forward. So thanks.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, and look forward to things to come.
Great. Thank you. Dr. Ernie Minton, the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Kansas State University, has joined us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Mental health is really important to me. Not only have I struggled myself, but I've watched other farmers struggle. I saw my grandfather struggle from time to time, and we're out here for hours on end by ourselves, and it just lets our mind race, about what if, what about that, the sacrifices that we're making. My kids aren't seeing me, my wife's not seeing me, what am I missing out at home? And there's a lot of things that we can't control that we think we can control. I credit my wife a lot for me going and seeking help. I respect all the women in her shoes that do what she does on a daily basis. I think I've become a stronger person by talking about it, and I hope that my story helps other farmers talk about their struggles and feel like it's okay to talk about it, because it's one of those things that if we don't talk about it, nobody knows that we're struggling, and the struggle is real.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the soybean checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Soybean Commissioners are scheduled to meet March 7th ahead of the 2023 Commodity Classic. One key item on the agenda is filling the board positions for Districts 4, 5, and 6, which are up for election in the latest cycle. Districts 4 and 6, North Central and South Central, are to be appointed. For individuals who reside in these districts and want to be involved, an application for the position is available online at www.kansassoybeans.org/forms. Commissioners volunteer their time to oversee the investment of checkoff dollars to improve profit potential for all soybean farmers in Kansas. They attend 3 meetings annually and participate in conference calls as needed. The soybean checkoff reimburses commissioners for travel and other expenses related to their service. Applicants must be a Kansas resident at least 18 years old and must have been engaged in growing soybeans within the last 3 years to qualify. The Commission seeks to ensure, to the best of its ability, that appointees reflect the diversity of the farmers it serves in terms of farm size, experience, production methods, and marketing strategies. The appointee will take his or her seat on the Commission at the annual meeting in August. 9 farmer leaders serve on the Commission, each elected by region to a 3-year term. Commissioners will also hear and discuss adjustments on a small number of projects included in the fiscal year 2024 funding proposal process. The board may go into executive session to discuss confidential or contractual matters. To obtain a complete agenda for the March meeting or receive information about participating, contact the Kansas Soybean Office.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Meyer and I serve as Program Director for Kansas Grain Sorghum. Similar to other respective commodity organizations, Kansas Grain Sorghum serves as the voice of the Kansas sorghum farmer. One of our goals here at Kansas Grain Sorghum is to bring awareness of the sorghum crop to leaders in Topeka. Over the past several weeks, we've been able to travel to Topeka in order to put this tiny but mighty crop in the spotlight. Today, I'll be giving an overview of what these visits have looked like during the 2023 legislative session. Back in January, our commission chairman, Kevin Kniebel of White City, gave a testimony to the House and Senate Agricultural Committees covering wins that the industry has seen over the past year, as well as highlighting many of the sustainability traits that sorghum is known for, such as its water-sipping properties. This month, Kansas Sorghum also joined the Kansas Association of Conservation Districts, along with other similar organizations during the Conservation Day at the Capitol on February 7th. Here, we were able to visit with Kansas leaders and discuss different items surrounding agriculture and more specifically sorghum. Sarah Sexton Bowser, Managing Director of the Center of Sorghum Improvement, or CSIP, also presented to the House Ag Committee a few of the many successful research projects that have been conducted recently. Kansas Grain Sorghum Producers Association President Kent Winter of Andale also shared why sorghum was important to not only his operation, but Kansas agriculture as well. Kansas Grain Sorghum is grateful for the opportunities to be able to serve our farmers, and we look forward to our next visit on the Hill.
Sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
At the Kansas Department of Agriculture, we're constantly working to improve our service to the agriculture industry across the state. One of the ways we've been working to make that service to you more efficient and effective is by expanding your access to online renewals. We know that you're busy in your farm operations, agribusinesses, food establishments, and other business efforts, and that paperwork just makes your work more difficult. So KDA programs across all of our divisions have expanded in recent years to allow you to submit your paperwork quickly and accurately through online systems using a variety of industry-supported vendors. From livestock brands to food establishment licenses, we now make nearly all of our license renewals available to you online, so you can submit them faster and we can process them faster with secure payments. Online systems result in higher accuracy rates by avoiding handwritten forms and can save businesses time in the application process, especially if they have multiple businesses submitting renewals, like large animal facilities that have multiple sites. One of the best examples of success is our online water use reporting, which has been underway for several years. We now see about 90% of these reports made via the online system, and water users love the fact that they can get an immediate response and know that the required water use report has been submitted, rather than wait for the mail system to deliver it, which doesn't provide that certainty that they have submitted it on time. We've recently added live plant dealers to the licenses that can be renewed online, and KDA will continue to expand our options to provide that convenience, efficiency, certainty, and accuracy that will better serve our stakeholders. If you haven't yet taken advantage of online renewals, give us a call, and we're happy to help walk you through the process. Just another way the Kansas Department of Agriculture is working to serve, promote, and grow the state's largest industry, agriculture.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
While there can be various opinions on how to formulate the perfect heart-healthy diet, the Beef Checkoff has been investing in actual nutrition research for nearly 40 years to better understand the role lean beef can play. Most of that research has been centered on the fat content of beef and whether it affects heart health risk factors such as cholesterol levels. It continuously has been shown that lean beef included in a healthy diet can lower total and LDL cholesterol levels. This research is important because it helps give the checkoff a voice and credibility among consumers and health professionals alike. It also has provided opportunities for the beef industry to work with the American Heart Association to formulate AHA certified recipes. Recipes and educational resources help show consumers how to prepare and enjoy lean beef with heart health in mind. Throughout the month of February, the Kansas Beef Council will be sharing these recipes and information on lean beef's role in a heart-healthy diet with both health professionals and the general public. For more information on lean beef or the research mentioned above, go to beefitswhatsfordinner.com.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Good morning, I'm Darren Van Vactor with Pinion Risk Management. We're over halfway through our base insurance pricing period, with corn running slightly ahead of last year in the mid 590s and beans behind last year near 1370. New crops corn to bean ratio sits at 2.3, so really you've got to look at input costs to see which pencils out the best. With the drop in fertilizer prices, corn may now work better, but that all depends on when or if you locked the majority of your inputs early on. Many of our rotation decisions here at home have been made, but the drop in fertilizer prices lends to heavier corn acres, especially back east. Looking to wheat, concerns surrounding the Black Sea export deal has shaken some of the shorts out of their positions. That headline was combated by late week forecasted precipitation, though. An interesting item to note is our commitment to traders reports will be delayed as a result of cyber attacks. This pause could give the funds a window to make some larger moves behind the scenes. Moving over to cattle, last week's higher cash cattle trade from 161 to 164 ratcheted the futures market up as cattle continued their steady trek higher. Inflation remains a concern, but the economy as a whole has weathered the storm thus far. The funds still have room to add length compared to historical highs, so trend is your friend if you're a producer. I'm not saying do nothing, but position yourself in a way that you're not fighting the trend. Margin calls in a higher interest environment will squeeze profit margins. If you'd like to discuss some ideas, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Darren Van Vactor. Be safe and have a great week.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us online, KansasAgReport.net, or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.